India's middle class has long been celebrated.
भारत का बढ़ता हुआ न्यू मिडिल क्लास इंडियन एस्पिरेशंस का पावर हाउस बना हुआ है.
Some even call it the backbone of the economy. But that backbone seems to be under a lot of strain.
The narrative which is now being said, oh, the middle class, you put them to difficulty, you've not done anything, they are angry with you.
Inflation, stagnant wages, and double taxation are taking a heavy toll. And add to that the current structure of the GST. A middle class person's backbone is stressed more than ever.
Health insurance related GOM work also requires more time, so they have gone to take more time.
Think about it. The middle class is expected to make up about 30 to 40% of India's population. They drive consumption, fuel government revenue, and support growth, and yet are burdened disproportionately. And this has now led to the rise of middle class tax movement, a growing call for tax relief and systemic change. Just when Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman prepares to present the first full budget of this term. Let's take a closer look at the mounting pressures on the middle class, how this is contributing to the slowing down of the GDP, and explore ways in which India can create a tax system that works for everyone.
This is also the segment which is the middle class segment.
So who is India's middle class? There's no one definition. It's normally considered to be those with an annual income between 4 to 5 lakhs and 30 lakh rupees. Then within this, there are lower and upper middle class income families. In March 2021, global think tank Pew Research Center estimated India's middle class had 66 million people, down from 99 million before the COVID-19 pandemic. Indian think tank Price says that middle class increased to 31% of the total population in 2020-2021 from the 14% in 2004 and 2005. So what is ailing India's middle class? But before I go into that, a quick reminder that I've anchored over 58 episodes of Let Me Explain. Every single week, many people write to me with their appreciation, criticism, and even suggestions. I'm grateful that you appreciate my team and my work, but please don't stop at just that. Show us that we matter to you. You can either click on the QR code on your screen, or when you finish watching this video, you can click on the description and look for the subscription link or our reporting fund. Make a contribution or just go to thenewsminute.com where you can click the subscription button there. Why is the Indian middle class's burden increasing? Let's start with the most glaring issues: stagnant wages and skyrocketing expenses. Over the past 5 years, real wages in India have barely budged. In fact, according to data from CMIE, wage growth has been a tiny 0.01%. And this has hit sectors like manufacturing and retail the hardest, which is where most of the middle class is employed. And the double whammy is that the wage inequality has been widening. Data from International Labour Organization, that's ILO, shows that the rich are becoming richer, but the middle and lower income groups haven't seen the same benefits. In fact, while the top 10% of the earners have enjoyed substantial pay increases over the past decade, the bottom 50% have barely seen their wages grow. And unemployment is presently at 8%. Food inflation, for example, has hit 10.9% and overall inflation stands at 6.2%. Add to this the rising household debt. Many families are forced to take on loans just to maintain the current standard of living. In 2024, India's household debt to GDP ratio went up to 35%, showing that more people are under financial pressure. The middle class, with not much of savings or job security, is increasingly depending on credit to make ends meet. So with less and less disposable income, private consumption by the middle class, which drives 60% of India's GDP, is slowing down. Even major companies like Nestle India and Hindustan Unilever are feeling the pinch, reporting drops in demand. Nestle's managing director went as far as to warn of a shrinking middle class, a sign of how deep the problem runs. If the middle class is struggling to maintain its purchasing power, that means that the consumer-driven economy is in serious jeopardy. and all sectors are feeling the squeeze. It's no wonder then that the December Purchasing Managers Index, or PMI, fell to a 12-month low. The PMI is a key indicator of the economic health, measuring activity in manufacturing and services sector. And then there is the GST, the tax system that was supposed to simplify all our lives.
जीएसटी सिर्फ एक टैक्स रिफॉर्म नहीं है, लेकिन वो आर्थिक रिफॉर्म का भी एक अहम कदम है.
But instead, it has added to our woes.
Salted popcorn, caramelized popcorn, plain popcorn.
I did an entire episode on this, and you can watch how bizarre some of the GST slaps are here. But the thing is, the middle class is feeling the pinch of the GST even on essentials. Take healthcare for example. Health insurance premiums are taxed at 18%. This means recovering from an illness comes with a hefty price tag. Education is another area where families are hit hard. Parents prioritizing their kids' future and ending up paying 18% GST on private schools, coaching classes, and even study material. If that wasn't enough, the tax on two-wheelers adds insult to injury. A two-wheeler isn't a luxury for most middle-class families. It's a necessity for getting to work, school, or even the market. But they're taxed at 28%, the same rate as a luxury car. The middle class also faces double taxation. Salaried middle-class individuals are among the largest contributors to income tax, with rates as high as 20 to 30% for higher income brackets. In between all of this, if you manage to save, then your savings are taxed too. Interest earned from fixed deposits and recurring deposits and even basic saving accounts doesn't come tax-free. Owning property and commuting also come with steep taxes for the middle class. Homeowners pay upfront costs like stamp duty, registration fees, and annual property taxes, while two-wheelers and cars are taxed multiple times through GST and road tax. So with people spending less and less, the GDP has nosedived to 5.4% in the second quarter. That's between July and September of 2024. To make matters worse, government spending on infrastructure, schools, and hospitals has been on the decline. So what can be done to give some relief? Let's talk solutions. First off, the tax-free limit of income can be increased to 5 lakh rupees. This means that anyone earning up to 5 lakhs would pay no tax at all. Also, for those earning about 20 lakh rupees, the 30% tax should only kick in for incomes above the threshold, not for the entire sum. Then, essentials like healthcare and education, as well as housing, shouldn't be taxed at high rates. These are luxuries, these are basic needs. Lowering the GST on these would also bring the much needed relief for families already struggling with their budgets. For people buying homes right now, they can only reduce their taxable income by 1.5 lakh for their home loan repayments. If this limit is increased to 3 lakhs, they would save more money on their taxes. Healthcare is essential, and families shouldn't have to drain their savings to afford insurance or medical treatments. Increasing health insurance premium deductions to 40,000 to 70,000 for at least senior citizens would help make healthcare more affordable and accessible. And of course, make sure that there's no GST on healthcare. Next, we need better roads, better schools, and better hospitals. More government spending in these areas would directly benefit the middle class, giving them access to better infrastructure and services. And where will money for all of this come from? Well, tax the ultra-rich. It's time for the wealthiest to contribute more. Introducing a wealth tax of 2% on assets of over 100 crores and considering an inheritance tax on large estates would help address the growing wealth inequality. The top 1% of the population controls more than 40% of the nation's wealth, while the bottom 50% owns just 3%. And the loans given to the big corporations that turn into NPAs, the government should be more proactive in ensuring recovery. Of the 10.57 lakh crores written off in the last 5 years, 5.52 crores are pertaining to loans of large industries. It's time for policymakers to prioritize middle class, to recognize that our struggles aren't just personal, but national. Because a thriving middle class isn't just good for us, it's essential for India's future. Without these measures, India's consumption-driven economy will keep weakening and everyone will feel the consequences. The decline of the middle class is a deeper issue that could destabilize the entire economy. That's it from me for this episode. As always, do write to me at pooja@thenewsminute.com. Many of you do write, and I tried my best to make sure I reply to everyone. If I've missed out, I'll make sure I get back to you in some time. Before I go, a quick reminder that this week, because it's Pongal or Sankranti, we have an offer going on where you can buy a News Laundry or a News Minute subscription and you get to gift one to either your friends, families, or anybody you think who should become a subscriber. Make sure that you avail this offer this week.